All right, so we are totally sorry for the break in transmission. Our network failed us. So we'll continue from where we stop. We are still on with Omoyele Sowore. And if there are any questions, just as usual, as before, you drop your question in the comment section. And your questions, your contribution will also be very important. Thank you so much, Moyele Sowore, for your patience. And we will just go back and resume from where we stop. I hope you can still hear me, Omoyele Sowore.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So you were talking about those who colonized us. We were just making a comment regarding that when our network dropped.
Yes. And I was saying that those who colonized us uh, introduced ethnicity. In fact, we were treated as ethnic people. Were treated as tribal people from the colonialists, from the days of slavery. And it stuck with us because this was how it was easy to govern Africans who were enslaved and later colonized by the colonial masters. And when they were leaving, they divided Africa conveniently along those lines and also brought in religion so that the mind of an African man will be completely concentrated on either fighting for his ethnicity or fighting to go to heaven or hell, as the case, I mean, fighting not to go to hell and going to heaven. And these are the things that have caused us untold hardship, untold division, untold deprivation to today because we haven't gotten over those things. But because the white man, when they were leaving, also handed over power, so called independence, in the case of Nigeria, to their puppets in most cases. Those people also continued along those lines. And those of us who have seen through the fact that ethnicity don't mean nothing, it doesn't save you, it's not going to bring about social or physical development. I've always argued against it. And there's a part of me, beyond just being a Nigerian, as Pan African, in which case I see a united Africa as one of the biggest solutions to Africa's problem today. Because if we are united, as Chukwu said, we will have bigger bargaining power. We can use that bargaining power to do economic development, to do political development and physical developments that we need. Because there's a market on the continent of Africa for those who talk a lot about economics. But what has not happened to Africa is integration. You can't even get from here, Nigeria to Benin Republic, which is supposed not to be more than 30 minutes maximum. It takes you 4 hours because of artificial borders that were created by the colonialists and handed over to us, and we keep maintaining these borders. That is the problem that we are facing today. And I have seen the roots in ethnicity. When I was detained, particularly recently, the people who were put in charge of my detention were two Yoruba people, and they made my life hellish as possible. They're not houses, and I'm sure they put them there on purpose, just to let you know that when we need to deal with you, we can find people who speak your language. They put them there so that I won't be able to have conversations with visitors in Yoruba and be able to communicate anything that my oppressors will not find out. So that's why I don't subscribe to all this nonsense about ethnicity. I'm not opposed to people who are fighting for regional autonomy or restructuring. Only if they understand what it means. Only if they understand that it can solve the problem or not solve the problem. It's not an emotional issue for me. I have reviewed this several times that during June 12th, during the Abiola, the fights to bring about democracy after June 12th, 1993, around 1996, 7 or so, I joined the OPC, that's Oduduwa People's Congress. And the goal of OPC at that time was to liberate Yoruba land and fight to bring about a functioning southwestern part of Nigeria. But I saw through it very quickly that this was a destructive agenda. And I tell you that within the OPC itself, more Yorubas were killed fighting over crumbs, over fighting over power, fighting over territory in Yoruba land than any other ethnic group living in this part of the world. I think Chukwumeka has joined us. I want you to be aware of that.
Okay, you're welcome, Chukwu Emeka. Can you still hear us?
Yes, thank you. I can hear you.
Okay, that's great. So, Sowore, you can continue, please.
So, there's nothing, and that's what I was saying in closing before that, that there's nothing anybody can tell me after 30 years of fighting and struggling in this Nigeria that can convince me otherwise. That a balkanized Nigeria, an ethnic Nigeria, ethnic enclaves as nation states will solve Nigeria's problem. You're deceiving yourself. Except we get the right kind of leaders. And if we get the right kind of leaders, we will start having territorial ambitions. When I mean territorial ambitions, that Nigeria will become too small for us to operate. Particularly the people you call Nigerians. Nigerians, we are so open-minded. I don't know of the older generation. My generation and the generation below me are very open-minded. When we go to the US, right? When I lived in the US, for the 20 years I lived in the US, I have seen so many ethnic groups come into Nigeria. I mean, nationals come into Nigeria, nationalities come into Nigeria. Sorry, the US. Nobody, in my view, adapts quickly to the US, uh, uh, the United States culture as Nigerians. 2 weeks, you call the same person that just arrived last week is already speaking Ebonics, speaking through their nose. Sometimes they change their names because they adapt very quickly to foreign culture or, just to blend into wherever they find themselves. Look at what we are doing in music, picking, genres of music and style from other parts of the world and making it into our own and making it powerful and dominating the continent of Africa with it. So it's how will it then help you to now break this current Nigeria into two? Meaning that if I want to go to Edo State tomorrow, I have to go and look for a visa, right? If I want to go from Edo State to Enugu, I have to get another visa. And one thing I keep saying all the time is if you break up Nigeria and within the same geographical space in this current Nigeria, and one part of Nigeria is doing so well, prospering, you can find jobs, electricity, and you are surrounded by the other parts of Nigeria that is you are running away from, that is not doing well. Do you expect that the people who are not doing well will leave you alone? Are you going to erect a wall? Yeah. Are you going to erect a wall around your own nation state? Maybe a wall, you want to call it, or you want to call it Biafra wall, that will now keep all the hungry people away from Biafra, or we keep it away from Oduduwa? You are deceiving yourself. If you break up and any part of Nigeria is doing well, everybody will move down there and take it over, overwhelm the place, and it will become the Nigeria you are leaving behind very quickly, very quickly. I started the same thing with Niger Delta region. See, this whole thing about breaking up, in recent times, the people that have spoken about breaking up the most are Niger Delta peoples, right?
Yeah.
They even raised army. They raised their own army. It's not like they were just saying and they went and bought weapons, start fighting the Nigerian state. What came out of it? Where are the militants today? They have all become millionaires and billionaires and abandoned the struggle for even the cleanup of Niger Delta region. Nobody is talking about it anymore. Nobody is talking about resources control anymore. Because why? With the little battle we fought in Niger Delta region, because I'm from there too, what happened? We had NDDC. Go and look at what they are doing with the money of NDDC. Are the people who are doing that, are they not from Niger Delta? Of course, they are Niger Delta people. The other day we saw one where they said they supplied plastic chairs for 3.4 billion. The plastic chairs were never delivered. They did it in what they call supply and remove. You supply something and you pass it through the back door in the warehouse. You go to the states. And it's a good question to ask our people. The man who is governing Lagos, is he from Fulani? Is he a Fulani man? Is Tinubu a Fulani man? Or is he Hausa? Or is he Igbo? Is the governor of Ondo State Hausa man? What are they doing in their own state? Even with the allocations that are coming in legitimately to this government, what are they doing to their own? They are oppressing their own people with it. They are oppressing their own ethnic groups with it. With so much ferocity, even worse than what their so-called enemies are doing. They are, because what has become the conversation in Nigeria is that the Hausa Fulani has become, the version of Satan in the Christian Bible. Anything that happens to you, blame the Hausa Fulani. Even when your own governor, your state governor is stealing money, right? Blame the Hausa Fulani. Look at recently they set up Amotekun in Yoruba land. Everybody was praising Amotekun. Amotekun is not the problem. Since they set up Amotekun, have you seen Amotekun capture anybody? The only person they arrested are some Chinese business people who were mining illegally in Osun State. Who sent the Chinese people to go and mine? The Oni of Ife, right? The Amotekun cannot arrest Oni of Ife. It's above the law. So you set it up as a failure. Some of the commanders of Amotekun were the same officers in the Nigerian army who were indicted in the killing of Delegiwa, Togo, and the rest of them. Go and check. They are the commanders of Amotekun in Yoruba land, trained assassins from the Nigerian state. They are now the ones commanding Amotekun. Sometimes I expect people to think more fundamentally, and sometimes I think part of the reason why people don't think deeply is because a lot of us are not reading anymore, and because history is not taught, and because now we are in this era of, indominization of thoughts. You just do it quickly, you eat it, and if it doesn't work, you move on to other things. There's attention deficit disorder as well, afflicting our thought processes, which is very dangerous. Otherwise, this conversation would not have been necessary. We all have joined hands together. You drive away the crazy people in your region. I drive away my own. The Hausas drive away their own, and put in place Nigerians who are good, forsake the bad ones. We'll all be happy and stop deceiving ourselves that if you break up Nigeria into 6 regions or into 6 countries, they were going to prosper. There are Nigerian states in the southwest, right, that have nothing to sell to anybody. In the whole of the southwestern part of Nigeria, the Oduduwa Republic, only Lagos and Ondo states can survive on its own. And let me now break it down to you. Lagos people don't believe in Ondo people. That's the truth. In fact, there's a thing they say in Yoruba that Gedegbe Lekowa, that is, Lagos is on its own. So, are you expecting Tinubu to now allow money that is made in Lagos to be building infrastructure in Osun State or in Oyo State? Or are you going to expect the people of Ondo State to carry their money to come and develop Ogun State? Even in Yoruba land, there are a lot of groups, Yoruba land, ethnic groups, you can even call it, tribes. It's not everybody in Yoruba land, it's not every language spoken in Yoruba land that that we all understand. We have different terms. We don't understand ourselves, we don't agree with ourselves. You have discrimination in Yoruba land. The Egba people feel superior to the Jebus. The Jebus feel superior to Ekiti people. They call them Araoke. People who are not civilized. There are Muslims and Christians in Yoruba land. There are enemies. The diversity in Yoruba land alone has made it impossible for Yoruba to even work together. Some of the places that had the most incessant wars in the 16th and 17th century and 18th century was Yoruba land. Yoruba land practiced some of the most egregious type of enslaving others, enslaving other Yoruba people. That's how these traditional rulers and titles came about. The wickedness of Yorubas against Yoruba people. You can just go and read a little bit of history of the Yorubas. So people will just tell you that, the moment Yorubas create their own nation, everything will be fine. Everything wasn't fine in 1963 because Yorubas never agreed on anything. In fact, every problem that's afflicted Nigeria since 1960 mostly started from Yoruba land. 1963 started from the Western region, right? 1983, that brought an end to the First Republic. The First Republic ended in Yoruba land. The Second Republic, 1983, ended in Yoruba land. That was in Ondo State where there was political crisis. In 1993, the problem that afflicted Nigeria in 1993 started from Yoruba land. You understand?
Yeah.
Even in 2003, problems almost started from Yoruba land with Yoruba people rejecting Obasanjo, even in 1999, that they don't want to vote for him. So these things are not as simple as people make them, but what I'm speaking to you now based on experience. You understand? It's my experience in the last 30 years. I cannot sit here in good conscience deceive you that if you break up Nigeria, that suddenly there will be a highway from Lagos to whatever, or that the education system will just become so fantastic, everybody will be having a great time, or that we will solve all our infrastructural problems, social and physical. I'll be lying to you because the people who will be in charge of Yoruba land are the same people who are drawing back the progress of Yoruba land today. I wanted to talk about Biafra. I don't consider myself qualified to talk about Biafra. I'm not from Biafra land. But what I understand is that their own case is a little bit different, in my view. I haven't read about the Civil War extensively. The pogroms and the way we have treated Igbos since the end of the war. It is justified for them to keep asking for justice, because Nigeria never really accepted the Igbos. Even after they were defeated in the war, and we said that no vanquish, no victor, no victor, no vanquish. We mistreated them, we still treat them shabbily. We are celebrating in 2020 the second Niger bridge that is entering Rainbow Land. Yes, when by now we should have several bridges. The bridges should be like 10, linking every part of Igbo with the mainland on this side as well. And everywhere, not Biafra, but we don't care about them. And they have, genuine grievances because they were defeated in a war. They lost 3 million to 5 million of their people to either direct killings and murders and extermination by hunger, which was carried out on the Nigerian side by some of our people, the same Yoruba people now that are shouting that they want to secede and they will not, everything will be perfect on their side. I don't know how to lie, and sometimes I think that puts me into trouble a lot. But I'd rather just tell the truth, get in trouble than lie, and be on good terms with my oppressors.
Thank you so much for all you've said so far. You've spoken greatly to a lot of people's concern, and I believe many of them who are still sitting on the fence right now will be thinking and of taking a stand. Thank you so much for that. So you're
I
welcome
wanted
back,
to.
Chukwu Emeka. Can you hear
I
us, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Hello. Don't know
wanted
what's
to say
going on
something
with.
before you go, right? Before you switch to Chukwu Emeka.
Okay.
And that is this. See, you know, anybody who is fighting for his own republic, the needful that you refuse to do now, you will still have to do it when you get your republic. That is that revolution you are running from in Nigeria. When you get to Biafra, you will still have to fight a revolution because you will be so overwhelmed by people of very, very dangerous character, shady political gladiators, wealthy people, that you will be calling for a revolution when you get to Biafra 6 months after you arrive there. When you get to your Oduduwa, 6 months, 3 months after you arrive there, you will be looking for a revolution too. Because you will be so surrounded, you won't know what to think, but you won't know what to imagine. And one other last thing I'll say, sorry, let me just add this too, is that
Okay.
when when we plead and ask for a peaceful revolution and people said no, you want to overthrow the government. I'm asking anybody who wants a new country today, uh, how are you going to get a country of your own without fighting? Tell me, how are you going to get a Oduduwa Republic without bloodshed? How are you going to get the Biafra you want without bloodshed? Tell me how you are going to do it. Because the people who consummated the marriage, they are not ready to let you go. So tell me how you are going to do it. Because people always say, oh, let's protest. They said, no, you are asking for violence. Tell me, those of you who are not asking for violence, how you are going to get your nation state without firing a shot. So I'll yield to.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you. So back to Emeka. Can you hear us, please?
Yes, I can. I
Okay.
can hear you.
So I don't know, you were off and on for a moment. I don't know if you were able to hear all that Sowore said, but I want to ask you personally. Do you think that people as of this moment they are getting it right? Do you think they are getting it right?
No, they are not getting it right.
Okay. What do you think is
If they're
missing?
getting it right, we won't be having this conversation.
Okay.
They're not getting it right. We still have the mindset of division, which is being fueled by the people in power. That's a fact. They are the ones fueling all of this division because, like, like I said before, once you remain divided, you remain conquered. You see, we are divided on the country level. Also, on the Africa level, we are divided. So, we are being conquered as a people in our own soil. Then, on the continental level, the imperialists are conquering us because we are divided. Do you understand now? So, we are not getting it right at all. As the enlightened ones and people who claim to be educated, it baffles me when you hold on to ethnic sentiments and religious, sentiments. Somebody comes say, vote for me because I'm from your tribe. Then you look at the person's antecedents. It's not about coming from my tribe. What have you done in the past? In fact, some of these people have held, one position or the other. What have you done in the past? That's what you should look at. It's not because he's from your tribe. This man, former ex president, was from the south. He couldn't construct east-west road. So what was the benefit of him coming from the south? It's not about tribe here. It's about somebody who wants, the progress of the society. And let me say this: our battles are too much in Africa. We are fighting imperialists. We are fighting the people imperialists are using to suppress us. We are fighting religious people. In fact, recently, traditional people have joined them. We have a lot of battles, and we have to wake up. We are not getting it right as of now.
Okay.
I used to ask, just tell me any of your bills that tribalism can pay. What can tribalism do for you than create killing and division and chaos? What can tribalism do for you on a normal sense? That's a fact. We are shouting Black Lives Matter, but at home, we are killing each other. Doesn't make any sense. If we don't respect ourselves at home, there's nowhere you'll be respected as an African. It's just common sense. Because God said, He said, a race that does not respect itself automatically forfeit the respect of other people. And it's a fact. So we are not getting it right, and that is why we are having this conversation. Let our people look beyond ethnic and religious, things, and look at Buhari. The people from the north, they said because he's a northerner, they gave him their votes. What has he done now? There is much killing now than before. Chaos everywhere in the north, even though they would deny it because they've been brainwashed by religion. The religious brotherhood is what they are using to hold them down. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hello?
And I can hear you loud and clear, and I believe
Can you hear me?
yes, of course, I can hear you, and I believe our audience can hear you as well.
Yes. In the north, they are being held down by a religious brotherhood. In fact, they teach them some of these things in the mosque. This is a fact. I have people who have left the religion they've told me all of this stuff. They teach them in the north in the mosque who to vote for, who not to vote for. So we have to understand that these things, they are just manipulating the people to get more power. If our people can understand that you have no tribe anywhere, nobody was born with a tribe. You were born plain and clean, no religion, no tribe. These are just human labels. You understand?
Yeah.
So if you can have this fundamental understanding, your tribe becomes the person who wants the best for you. It's not about being a Christian or a Muslim or being Igbo or Hausa or Ibira. It's about the person who wants the best for you. And we can see clearly that our politicians, they are not our tribe. They don't want the best for us. We can see clearly after almost 60 years of independence, we don't have power supply. I mean, they don't want the best for us. We can see these things, but because we want to hold on to these sentiments, that has been our problem. That's why we are having this conversation. Please let go of your religious sentiments. They do not care about you. I will keep saying it to anybody who cares to listen. If you're saying your problem is Hausa, Fulani, what about the allocation that is coming to your governors? What have they done with it? Let's be realistic here. If you say your problem is Hausa, Fulani, also the roads in your state, those roads, right? You see Hausa, Fulani that is holding them from building it? No. There are corrupt elements in every society of the world. We can't just make a blanket statement. It's Hausa Fulani, it's Igbo, it's Yoruba. No. Like I said, the fight is between good people and bad people. And we have to choose our sides carefully. What side did you want to be on? Is it side of the good or the bad? If you're supporting somebody based on tribal sentiment and not the person's antecedents, you are on the bad side, because when the person gets to that place, the person will forget you. And we are seeing it's clear. These are practical things we are seeing in Nigeria every single day. And I hope our people will wake up. As of now, we are not getting it right. We have to wake up. Nobody cares about anybody's tribe. If you leave Africa, anywhere you find yourself, you're a black person, and you'll be treated the same. They don't know if you're Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba. You are a black person. That's the fact. So we have to wake
Thank you
up.
so much. Thank you for all you've said so far. I don't know if Omoyele will rest still with us, or probably he is on to something else, probably a different appointment, because I know he is a very busy person, and we do appreciate your time coming to the program. We certainly appreciate your time. So, do you believe that if our people join hands together, regardless of tribe and ethnicity, that they would be able to achieve a country that works for Omoyele Sowore?
Oh yeah, I do. I've seen it work in other places where you have leaders who stay above, the fray, and who have great character and who don't play the blame game. They don't play the ethnic game, as Chukwu Emeka said. If you go to my page, if you were on my page 2 months ago, you will see a lot of young Northerners, people from the North, at least going by their names. They may be fake as well. Anytime I post something, they will descend on my status updates, insult me, insult everybody who is on the page, and they will support Buhari. But you notice,
Oh, sorry, everyone. Just a little bit of network problem, but I will be back as shortly as possible. Please just stay tuned and remain on the program. And I believe that you can hear me. I can see your comments right here below. Please, if you have questions for our guests, just feel very, very free to drop them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program, and hopefully you've been hearing all that has been said so far on the program by our guest Omoyele Sowore, and as well as Chukwu Emeka. They've greatly enlightened us and push us in the right direction, to go so that we can have a country that works for all. So please, we should not just listen to these things, but we should also learn from them. We should share with our loved ones and those that are around us, because it is only together that we can truly have a country that works. And a country that works is indeed possible. We can and we will achieve it if we come together. So thank you so much. We've been having a little bit difficulty with our network. So we are back online now with Chukwu Emeka. I am sorry for that interruption. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, Chukwu Emeka.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm so sorry for that break. Okay, so Chukwu Emeka, what do
Yes.
you think? You spoke about people living uh, this idea, this mindset of tribalism and ethnicity to come together and demand for a country that work. So my question to you is what do you think is the role of the traditional rulers in all of this? What do you think? Are they doing something that they should be doing, or is there more that they can do?
Well, the fact is that our traditional institutions are no longer what they used to be. Now they are more of a political office. You know, we see politicians um, appointing political, appointing emirs and obas and all of that, and it's looking like a joke. When politicians want to campaign, they go to the obas just the way they go to the pastors. and they pray for them, they lay hands on them. You know, they might not say that they are endorsing them, but that action alone is endorsement, because when the people that are following these traditional rulers see these things subconsciously, you know, it's endorsement. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they vote for them. So the traditional institutions, they've lost their taste, their quality, what they used to be known for. So they are not doing any, as it is right now, they are not doing anything special, but they are contributing to the problem, because they are supposed to be the ones sensitizing our people about our traditions, about our culture, about our values. You know, look at the traditions, the ones that are not compatible with today's world, remove them, and maybe bring in new ones or modernize the ones that we have. These are supposed to be their functions, because when I study the African culture and some of our value system, it's not what we are seeing today. For example, in the Yoruba value system, money comes last. We have hard work, you know, integrity. These are the way it is. But today, money comes first. When you have money, you're respected, you're valued in society. That's because our traditional institutions, they've lost their quality, their taste. They are just stooges right now. So they're not doing anything. I can't even say that, I can't even say they're not doing enough. They're not doing anything at all. They are part of the problem. So when we talk about revolution, we are talking about cultural revolution as well. When we will educate our people about the true history, you know, and the true positions of our traditional institutions. Right now, they are not doing anything. They're not even doing anything. Talk more to say that they're not doing enough. In fact, they are encouraging the bad situation. That's what I see about them. There are examples. I was watching a video recently. Some Chinese, uh, um, they were, will I say, they were trying to destroy a farmland
Okay.
in Osun State. When the owner of the farm came and spoke to them, they said it was the owner of Ife who gave them the permission to come there, destroy the farmland, and look for gold. How can you do that to your people? So this is what I'm saying, that these institutions, they've lost their quality, their standard, and they're just there as stooges, not really as they're not there to represent the people. So that's it.
Okay, so what do you think they can do better? The
Cultural
traditional
revolution,
the traditional
teaching our people the true history. Unfortunately, the people that are there now, I've seen Obas praying in the name of Jesus. It doesn't make any sense. Can, can, can you see the Queen of England praying in the name of Shango or Oshun or Batala or Amadioha? Have you ever seen it? This is mental slavery. So they have to, you know, these things we can't actually go into them because they will tell you it's sacred, but we know that it's not sacred anymore. It's now politics. So the only way forward is for us who understand these things to teach our people the true history of our people, the true history and the true role of the traditional institutions. When our people understand this truth and they wake up, you know, to the reality, then they can begin to question. Because right now people can't question. Once their Oba says this, their leader says this, they accept. They say yes. Our people are not trained to question. When you tell me this is white, I'll tell you why is it white? Why? I want to know why. Because if we don't have an inquisitive mind, we cannot build a better society. People need to ask questions. Why are you doing this? Why? Because if you don't ask questions, you can't get answers. So that's what I can do. That's what we can do. We have to sacrifice to train our people about the true history. And that is why I created my page. I teach true history of our people everywhere in Africa and how we got to where we are now and what we can do to get out of it. We have to work. That begins with the mind, with the mindset. If the mindset is not right, then nothing can work.
Okay, thank you. So if all these things are done, if they are done and our people come together and they do the struggle and you know the country they drop their different ethnic agitation, to fight together, what will be their benefits? For a lot of them, they have
Their
this
benefit will be a working
ethnic,
society.
they have an ethnic situation that need, attention. For example, many will tell you the herdsmen invading their land and so on. So, with these ethnic problems that do come up here and there, will they be fixed? Will they be spoken to?
Once you have a working government, all of these issues will be taken care of. There will be a proper boundary um, um, dispute experts who will come and talk about these things. We have experts, in land disputes, conflict resolution experts. We have a lot of, but because we don't have good leadership, we don't put people who can perform, who can do the right thing in places of authority. We pick people who are incompetent. So these things are just simple things that can be solved with good leadership. All the countries today that are doing well, they had issues one time in the past. China used to fight a lot of wars with Japan, and even inside there used to be a lot of rebellions in China. But when they got good people in power who understand what they really want for their people, today they are no more fighting wars. They are building the best tech. They are manufacturing and shipping to and dumping it in Africa because they have given up fighting and now they are building. So once we have good leadership in place, things will work out naturally. And that's the fact. People who will not stir up ethnic tensions. When things are going wrong, they won't say it's Igbo people that are doing this. They won't say, they will deal with criminals or culprits individually and not drag their whole ethnic groups into it. Once you have such people in position of authority, justice will prevail and there will be peace in the land. That's all.
Thank you so much for all you've said so far. We are drawing near to the end of the program, and thanks for the work that you're doing. We see your work on Chukwu Emeka Media. It's a page on Facebook where you can see a lot of his content and what it's all about. And we do invite our people anywhere they are, to join in the struggle for a country that work. Believe it or not, wherever you are, the country affects you. However you address yourself to be it Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, it does not matter when you are out of the country. It does not matter. It doesn't actually speak to you being able to put food on the table at the end of the day. So if we must achieve a country that works for everyone, we would be willing, you know, to drop all that we're doing and join hands together and be able to demand for a country that works. We saw it recently in the American protest, the Black Lives Matters. A single person was killed, and we can see that everyone, Puerto Rican, regardless of your color, even the white people, we are all protesting Black Lives Matters, not just simply for the guy Floyd that was killed, not also for not also for the black people, but just to have a police reform that work for all. And we can already see actions are being taken, to put those things in place, to adjust their laws so that the everyone can benefit, from the struggle. If they were to divide that struggle by saying, "Oh, you are from Puerto Rico, you can't join us in the struggle. Oh, you are from uh, Israel, you can't join us in the struggle. Oh, you from Europe, you can't join us in the struggle. I don't believe
Mexico.
the Black Lives Movement would have, Black Lives Matters movement would have been able to achieve all that it is achieving today. So it is our time we drop our ethnic and tribal line aside and face the matter the way it is and be able to demand for a country that works. That is truly what we want. We are saying, although many of us might say we want our ethnic region, but if we have our ethnic region and it's still not working for us, we're still going to complain. So the bottom line of it all is that we want a country that works for us. And I believe that is what revolution now stands for. And we do invite everyone to join in the movement so that together we can achieve greatness. So, Chukwu Emeka, what will be your last word to our audience before we end the broadcast for the day?
Well, my last word is simple. Um, as I've said many times, anywhere you find yourself as an African, our struggle is the same. Take, for example, Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso. When he took power, you know, within 4 years, he transformed the country. They were literally in famine. They had no food. Within 4 years, they achieved food security. Within 4 years, he stopped borrowing. He cut every aid because he said anybody who feeds you controls you. They began to build their own railway line indigenously without any help from foreign powers. But of course, the West, France, they were not happy with it. And they connived with a fellow black man, a fellow African. They killed him and they overthrew him. Today, Burkina Faso is a mess. As I speak to you right now, there's famine in that place, hunger in that place, because our enemies are from outside, but they are conniving with the enemies within, which is these political leaders, to keep us grounded. You have to wake up that that person you think is from your tribe is not actually fighting for you. He's fighting for invaders, outsiders, and his own pocket. That's the truth. So once we can look beyond ethnic and tribal lines, we will begin to elect our leaders based on their antecedents, based on their past record, based on what they've done for humanity. The current Nigeria president, since he left powers in the 80s, didn't do any single thing until he became president. He didn't write a book, didn't do any community work. We didn't know anything of importance. He did, but he came back to become president because we are a people who choose leaders by tribe, by religion, and not by antecedents, not by records. You see where the problem is coming from now. So if we can wake up out of this coma, out of this mental bondage, out of this division, out of these artificial labels we give to ourselves, then we can begin to see the changes we need. Because if you divide African countries into more countries, even within the countries, there will be conflicts and there will be problems. So what are you going to do again? Divide the country again? We have to work on our mindset. Our mindset is the main issue. Work on our mindset. Read African history. Know exactly where our problems are coming from. If you can see these problems, then I can tell you we are very close to solving them. So please, as you go out of this show, look beyond ethnic and religious sentiments. Choose leaders based on antecedents, on their personality. And as you know this knowledge, make sure you enlighten other people. Don't keep it to yourself. And as you do this, within a few years, you see many people who think like us, who understand this basic stuff, and they can no longer be deceived by these monsters in power. And before you know it, we will have good people in power and our country will work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chukwu, Emeka. Thank you all that stopped by on the show today. I understand that a lot of people said on Facebook that it was hanging as we can see. We'll review this and make sure that in our next program, we'll be able to do better. Please and please, I plead with all, let us unite. It is only with unity, as the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall, that we would be able to have a country that works for all. And we are also sorry that we are not able to get Sowore back on the show. I believe that he has other appointments that he needed to attend to, and with the interruption of the line, it just make it more difficult, to meet up with our timing on the program. But we appreciate all for coming in. We do wish you a happy Sunday and wish you that you should stay blessed. All right.